I'm Anil Kumar. Welcome to my series on solution to GCSE test papers. Here in part 2, we will solve questions from question number 13 to 24. This is foundation level paper 2 where the calculator is allowed. So let's continue. Question number 13 here is Ellie makes hats. She makes at least 17 hats per hour. She is paid 46 pence for each hat she makes. Reyes is a waiter. He works 35 hours and is paid a total of 266 pounds. Show that Ellie's hourly rate of pay is more than Reyes' hourly rate of pay. So basically, we need to find rate of pay for both. So let's work with Ellie first. Now she makes at least 17 hats per hour. So it is 17 hats per hour. Okay. She is paid 46 pence for each hat. So per hour, how much she earns? 17 hats per hour, and she is paid 46 pence. So as far as pounds earned are 17 into 0.46 per hour. So let's multiply and figure this out. 17 times 0.46 is equal to, in decimals, 7.82 per hour. So that is her hourly rate. Now, for Reyes, he works 35 hours and is paid a total of 266. So we have pounds 266 in 35 hours. We can just divide directly. So we have 266 divided by 35 to get the rate. In decimals, it is equal to 7.60. So many pounds per hour, right? That becomes the rate. Now, show that Ellie's hourly rate is higher. So since 7.82 is higher than 7.60, correct? So that is how we could show. Clear? Let's take the next question, which is question number 14. A and B are odd numbers. Give an example to show that the value of 2, A plus B, is a multiple of 4, right? So we can take A and B as any odd numbers, let's say 3 and 5. Correct. So if I substitute, we get 2 times 3 plus 5, which is equal to 2 times 8, which is 16, and we know 16 is a multiple of 4. Correct? So this is an example. Part B is, show that when A and B are both odd, the value of 2 times A plus B will always be a multiple of 4. Right? So okay, let's do it. So basically, we are doing 2 times A plus B, and we have 2 times, both are odd numbers, right? Odd plus odd. Now when you add odd numbers, you get what? You get even numbers, right? So you get even number. Now even number is a multiple of 2, so it could be written as 2 times, even number is 2 times any number. Or we can say other number, right? Now clearly 2 times 2 is 4, so 4 times other number. So that is how you could show that it is a multiple of 4, right? Which is a multiple of 4. Is that clear? So that is how we could show it. Next question here, question number 15 is, Mr. Page uses oil to heat his home. At the beginning of November, there were 1,000 liters of oil in his oil tank. Mr. Page bought enough oil to fill the tank completely. He paid 50 pence per liter for this oil. he paid a total amount of £750. At the end of February, Mr. Page had 600 liters of the oil in the tank. He bought enough oil to fill the tank completely. The cost of the oil had increased by 4%. Work out the total amount Mr. Page paid for the oil he bought in February. Right? So there is a lot of information here, and this is a 5-mark question. So let's try to understand the situation. Right? So I'll make a small sketch here, and then we'll actually work out the details. Let's say this is the tank, right? So the question says that at the beginning of November, there was 1,000 liters of oil. Let's say this is 1,000 liters, right? So this is 1,000. Mr. Page bought enough oil to fill the tank completely. He paid 50 pence per liter for the oil and paid total amount of £750. So oil purchased. So it's a quantity of oil purchased. Right? So this is in November. So you could get the quantity when you divide the cost, total cost, right? So total cost with rate. Rate. So in this case, it is 750. We should convert this also to pounds. We get 0.50, correct? So that is what we get. So we get the quantity as 750 divided by 0.5, which is 1,500. Now see, this is pound per liter. Do you see that? Pounds per liter. And so what we get is liters. So that means he topped up using 1,500 liters. Correct. So then that clearly shows that the total capacity is 1,000 plus 1,500 liters, which is 2,500 liters. Clear? So all this is 2,500. Now what happens in February? So in February, 600 liters of the oil in the tank. So he bought enough. Now, there is only 600 liters left. So the consumption was there. And let's say it went down to 600 liters. Let's say somewhere here, right? So that much. This is 600. So oil to be purchased will be how much? Oil to be purchased will be 2,500 minus 600, because 600 is already there, right? So we get 1,900 liters, correct? Now it says that at the end of February, Mr. Page had 600 liters of oil in the tank. He bought enough oil to fill the tank completely. The cost of oil had increased by 4%. Work out the total amount Mr. Page paid for the oil he bought in February. Now the price has increased by 4%. So the cost or the rate is what? So the rate of oil is 0.50 pence per liter plus 4%, right? Plus 4% of 0.50. So that becomes the cost, right? So we can always use our calculator. That basically means it is 0.50 plus this is 0.04 times 0.50. Correct? Or we could say 1.104. So we could also write this as 1.04 of 50 pence. Right? So that is the cost. So it is 1.04 times 0.5, which is in decimals 0.52. 0.52 per liter, right? That becomes the cost, right? So the amount to be paid will be how much? So basically, amount to be paid will be the quantity, which is 1900, right, times 0.52, correct? So let's multiply this 0.52 by 1900 to get our answer, 988. 988. So our answer here is 988 pounds. Clear? So that is how this question should be solved. So I hope these steps are absolutely clear. The idea is to first find the capacity of the tank, and then once you find the capacity, you know how much is to be filled in February. Find the revised rate, which is 4% more than 50 pence, and use that to multiply with the amount to be filled to get the total money. Okay. Let's move on and take the next question, which is solve 5x minus 6 equals to 3 times x minus 1. So let's rewrite this and solve. 5x minus 6 equals to 3 times x minus 1. So we can distribute 3. So we get 3 times x minus 3. Bring down variables to the left side, constants to the right side, which makes it plus 6, right? So this is 2x equals to 6 minus 3, and x equals to 3 by 2, right? So we get answer as 3 by 2, which you could also write as 1.5. So that was a 3-mark question. Another 3-mark question here is question number 17. Emily buys a pack of 12 bottles of water. The pack costs £5 and 64 pennies. Emily sells all 12 bottles for 50 pence each. Work out Emily's percentage profit. Give your answer correct to 1 decimal place. Okay. So selling price is how much? Selling price is basically 12 times 0.50, which is 6, right? So it is 6 pounds. Okay. We are already given that the cost price is 5.64 pounds. Give your reasons. Work out Emily's percentage profit. So profit is selling price minus cost price, which is 6 minus 5.64, right? That's the profit. And when we say percentage profit, so percentage profit will be profit over the cost times 100, correct? So we can calculate this value. So profit is 6 minus 5.64, which is basically 0.36. And so percentage profit is 0.36 over the cost of 5.64 times 100. So we'll divide this by 5.64 and multiply by 100. So we get a value here in decimals as equal to 6.3829. We need to write the answer to 1 decimal place. Right? So 1 decimal place will be 6.4. Okay. So that is the percentage profit. Clear? Now let's look into the next question, which is Smith walks once round a circle with diameter of 80 meters. So the diameter is 80. There are 8 points equally spaced on the circumference of the circle. A. Find the distance Smith walks between one point and the next point. Let's say we want to find this distance, right? So this is 1/8 of circumference. So that means 1/8 of means multiply, and circumference is pi times diameter, pi d, right? In our case, diameter is 80 meters, so we can multiply this by 80. So that gives you as 80 divided by 8 as 10 pi, right? So you could use pi as 3.14, so which is basically equal to 10 times 3.14, which is 31.4, correct? Or exact value in meters will be 10 pi. You could write this. Okay. So let's move on and take the next part of this question. 4 of the points are moved as shown in the figure. So basically some points have been brought together, and now it's like this. Smith walks once around the circle again. B is, has the mean distance that Smith walks between one point and the next point changed? You should give reason for your answer. Well, total distance over number of points is the mean distance, correct? Since it is the same circle and same number of points, it remains same, right? So we can say the mean distance has not changed. Right? And the reason, of course, is both quantities, since total distance and the number of points remains same. Correct? If you want, you can calculate this also, which will be, in this case, 10 pi divided by 8 is the mean distance. Clear? So you could do that. Now let's take care of the next question, which is question number 19. I'd like you to pause the video, answer this question, then look into my suggestions. This is a 3-mark question. There are only blue cubes, yellow cubes, and green cubes in a bag. So we'll mention them as blue, yellow, and green. There are twice as many blue cubes as yellow cubes. So we are given ratio of blue to yellow. So there are twice as many blue. So the ratio is 2:1 as yellow. And 4 times as many green cubes as blue cubes. So we are also given that the ratio between green and blue, 4 times as many green as blue. Ratio between green and blue is 4:1. So that's what we are given. Now, Hannah takes at random a cube from the bag. Work out the probability that Hannah takes a yellow cube. So we want to find probability for yellow. So that is number of yellow over total number. That's what we have. Now, whenever we are working with ratios in such questions, it's a good idea to match something, right? So we could actually match the blues, right? So we could write this ratio as 8:2, correct? So if I write like this, then we have blue is to yellow is to green. Now blue is 2. So when blue is 2, yellow is 1, and green is 8. So it satisfies all the given conditions, correct? Now the quantity is in this ratio. That means it will be 2x, 1x, and 8. So anyway, the total will be 11, right? So if there are 11 cubes in all, out of 11, we can write this as 11 in all, yellow is just going to be 1, correct? So 1 out of 11 is your answer, clear? So we could write the probability as 1 out of 11. Question number 20. The question here is, it is based on rotation. Rotate the trapezium T 180 degrees about the origin, label the new trapezium as A. So 180 degrees about this point, correct? So when you rotate, it will go in a straight line on this side, correct? So it is, it'll come on this side, correct? So it is a straight line 180 degrees. So that point, once you rotate by 180 degrees, now it doesn't really matter whether you go counterclockwise or clockwise, you reach the same place, correct? So when you do that, in that case, this point comes here, and the other point, which is diagonally placed at two places, will now be there. Do you see that? So that point will be in this position, correct? So this trapezium, which looks like, okay, let's push this a bit here. So when you rotate it, it kind of comes in a standing position, right? And the point which we have here, so what do you notice from these coordinates? The point which is 2 minus 2 goes to minus 2 minus 2. So they kind of swap the positions, correct? Now, if I'm looking at this point, which is at 4 minus 1, so 4 minus 1 will now be 4 and plus 1. Okay? So if you rotate this, 4 minus 1 will move to a point which will be here. And the point which is at 5 minus 2 will actually go from here in this direction. If you just connect this, 5 minus 2 will basically become my 2. So that will be the shape, right? So we get something like this. So that is going to be the shape, and we'll call this as A. Correct? So what really happens is that when you rotate, then the coordinates in this particular rotation, so if there is a coordinate which is x and y, in that case, look into this, right? This point here is actually 4 minus 1. And when you rotate to a rotation of 180 degrees, the point xy changes to minus x minus y, right? So that change in coordinate, if you work with, helps to identify the final points. For example, this point here is basically 5 minus 2. So when after rotation, we are looking at minus 5 plus 2. So the point here should be minus 5 plus 2, right? So easily you can get your 2. So the transformation is kind of like this. So transformation for 180 degrees rotation. And that is about origin. Then that is the position. Is that clear to you? Now, part B is translate trapezium T, that means the original one, by the vector minus 1, minus 3. Label the new trapezium as B. So minus 1 means 1 unit left, and minus 3 means 3 unit down. Correct? So 1 unit left and 3 down. So this point here, 1 unit left, 1, 2, 3. Correct? Similarly, this point, 1 unit left. So we get the whole thing translated like this. And we'll label this as B. Is that clear? So that is how we are going to do it. So I hope that helps. Let's continue. Question number 21. So this is based on the laws of exponents. P cubed times p to the power of x is equal to p to the power 9. Find the value of x. So we are given p cubed times p to the power of x equals to p to the power of 9. So on the right side, we get p to the power of 3 plus x equals to p to the power of 9. So that means 3 plus x is 9, or x is equals to 9 minus 3. So must be 6, right? So we have x equals to 6. The next one here is find the value of y. So we have 7 to the power of 2 to the power of y equals to 7 to the power of 10. They get multiplied. That's a power rule. So 2 times y is 10. Y is 10 divided by 2, which is 5. The next question here is 100 to the power of a times 1000 to the power of b can be written as 10 to the power of w. Okay, so show that w is 2a plus 3b. So we need to find what w is. Okay, so 100 to the power of a times 1000 to the power of b. Now 100 could be written as 10 square, right? So it is 10 square a times 10 cube b, right? Which is equal to 10 to the power of 2a times 10 to the power of 3b. With the same base, we could write this as 10 to the power of 2a plus 3b. Now, since we are given this as 10 to the power of w, that means w equals to 2a plus 3b. Clear? So that is how it should be done. Okay. Now, question number 22. ABCD is a trapezium. Work out the size of the angle CDA. So we need to find this angle CDA. Give your answer correct to 1 decimal place. Now that is a 5-mark question. So take your time to answer this question. So let's think, how can we do it? Since we have to find this angle, okay, so that means we could look into a triangle which can be formed like this. And we need these 2 dimensions. Since this is a trapezium, height is 6. We know this is 6 centimeters. We know that much. Now, we should find this length. Total is 24. That is 10. That means this is 10. So we need to find from here to this. Okay. So let's label this point as, let's say, point P. So we should first find what is AP. So AP square should be equal to, that's a right angle triangle, hypotenuse, which is 7.5 square minus 6 square, correct? So let's figure this out. So we have 7.5 square minus 6 square equals to 81 by 4. So AP will be equal to square root of 81 by 4, which is 9 by 2 or 4.5, correct? Or you could do square root of your answer to get the answer as 9 by 2 or 4.5. That's good. So we know this is 4.5. So we can now find, let's call this point as Q. So we can find what QD is. So QD should be 24 minus 10 minus 4.5. So let's do this. So we have 24 minus 10 minus 4.5 equals to, in decimals, 9.5. So this is 9.5 for us. Now to find the angle, we can use tangent ratio, right? So we have tan of the angle CDA, which is opposite side 6 over 9.5. So the angle CDA should be equal to tan inverse of 6 divided by 9.5, correct? So we have tan inverse of 6 divided by 9.5. That gives you 32.27564, right? So it says give your answer correct to 1 decimal place. So we'll round this to 32.3 degrees. So this angle is 32.3 degrees, correct? So that is how we could actually solve this. So I hope the steps are absolutely clear. Let's move on to question number 23. 23. Use your calculator to work out square root of sine 25 plus sine 40 divided by cos 25 minus cos 40 degrees. Write down all the figures on your calculator display. write your answer to part A correct to 2 decimal places. Okay, so let's do, we have square root. So let's open 2 brackets, one for the numerator, then one for the denominator, right? So we have sine of 25 plus sine of 40, 1 bracket close, divided by, within brackets, we'll write cos of 25 minus cos of 40. Right, so divide by all this, bracket close. So we have all this, so everything, second bracket close for the whole thing, and that gives us a value of 2.75603957, right? That's what the calculator shows. Write down all the figures, this is what we get. Write down your answer correct to 2 decimal places. So this is what will come here, 2.75603957, round into 2 decimal places, 2.76, right? Now let's move on and take up the last question. The last question here is, solve 2x squared equals to 72. So we have 2x squared equals to 72. X squared is 72 divided by 2. So x squared is 36. So x basically is square root of 36. Now whenever you do square root, you have to take plus and minus. So you get 2 answers for this, which is plus and minus 6. So these are the 2 solutions to your quadratic equation. Expand and simplify. So when you want to expand, first with 2x, you have to multiply both the terms. So you get 2x times 3x, which is 6x squared, minus 2 means minus 4x. Well, 1, write them as such, which is plus 3x minus 2. Combine the like terms. This should be combined, right? So minus 4x plus 3x is minus x minus 2. So that is the expanded form. The last one here is to factorize. So we'll use product and sum, right? So we are looking for product of 2 numbers to be 9 and sum of 2 numbers to be 6. So 3 times 3 can work, correct? So it's a perfect square. You could also do like this. We can say this is x squared plus 2 times 3 times x plus 3 square. And you could also write this as x plus 3 whole square. So you could use any one of these methods. So what we get here is x plus 3 whole square. So I hope that makes sense. And that's the end of our solution to this test paper. I hope you find it interesting and useful. Feel free to write a comment, share your views, and if you like and subscribe to my videos, that'd be great. Now, in case you have any questions, you can always email me on this address given. And also look into some other solutions to this series. Hope that helps. Thanks for watching and all the best.